Okay, so this is the 96-in-1 add-on for Pac-Man. Hope it'll actually work this time. My board, not the add-on card. The add-on card always works. And it came up. It's a good day today for Pac-Man. Waviness on the screen, I'm pretty sure is I need to clean the contacts better for the fuses, and or I have a bad connection on my harness. But anyway, so the first menu you see has some of the more popular games. If you go to other games, you get a little bit more comprehensive list where you can choose slow or fast versions of Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man Plus and Miss Pac-Man Plus, which is pretty nice. And then you have like the other games, and I think these are the ones people are actually interested in seeing because they know what these other ones are. Although I haven't seen Pac-Man Plus floating around by itself very often in like those main packs or anything, but well, here's Miss Pac-Man Plus, for example. I have it set to slow. Whichever mode of Pac-Man you selected last for the game is the one that it selects off of the quick menu when you go to play it. And I'm not going to try very hard, just going to sort of give you an idea of like what goes on. And so you eat the Diet Coke and the ghosts turn invisible, just like Pac-Man Plus, but it's with the Miss Pac-Man mazes. It's pretty nice. One of the best things about this card is if you push both start buttons at the same time and to the right, you go to a pause screen. Now you can just like pause your game, which is super cool. You can get up and get a drink or something. If you push to the left, you go back to your game. But if you push both start buttons and to the right again, and you push up instead of left after that, then you go back to the menu and you can select a different game. It's really nice. Like if you're having a bad game or you just want to change games at some point, that's actually super cool. But let's look at some of the other games. One of the other bad things about this, not that it's super terrible, but sort of annoying, is that the high scores between Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man for slow and fast versions aren't separated. There is a high score list, and you can insert like a, I don't know, it's like a 7 or 8, possibly more character name for that high score. But I think those lists should be kept separate. They are kept separate for Pac-Man Plus and Miss Pac-Man Plus. But slow and fast are very different games, and having the two score lists in one spot is a little bit iffy, but not the end of the world or anything. Let me check the camera, make sure you can see everything properly. I think you can. Okay, well, let me show you Super Pac. This is a very bad version of Super Pac-Man. I wouldn't really recommend playing this one too much, but it's basically the same game, it just looks crappy. The speed is a little bit weird. The graphics are completely different. I mean, this is made for totally different hardware. Super Pac-Man isn't supposed to be run on a Pac-Man board, basically. What is that? I don't know what that is. Let's try to push start. Okay, it just reset for some reason. Well, that doesn't even want to start now. It's not a very good game anyway. It was working earlier. Again, I hooked my board up earlier and it was having some problems. I think there was like a loose chip in it. Let's try something else though. It's just not a very good version of Super Pac-Man. It's nothing like the actual arcade version. Here's Eyes, if you like Eyes. This is actually a good version of Eyes. I think we've run into some start button issues. That might be part of the reason. Oh no, here's what I'm actually running into. Eyes and Super Pac-Man don't have free play options. You have to put a quarter in. So it's a good thing I ran across that. So here's some coins. It does save how many coins are in the machine when you come back to the game, which is a little bit weird. If you've played Eyes, then you already know what this is. It's actually a pretty good game. It's one of the better ones that isn't Pac-Man on this board. It's basically this and Pingo. I'll clear one board and we'll do something else. Woohoo! Okay, we can exit out of this. I'll show you Super Pac-Man just because I think I know what the problem was. Yeah, so again, I mean, it's basically the same game. It's just, well, not a very good version of it if you ask me. More an interesting oddity to have on a board like this. It's cool that it's available at all. I don't particularly like Super Pac-Man anyway very much. Alright, that's enough of that. Other games. Mr. TNT, not really worth playing. It's mostly crap. So I think you're just trying to cover all the lines and touch the glowy things and not let the dots that are also eating the lines and following you come in contact with you. Looks easy at first, it gets harder as you go on. Again, sort of boring if you ask me. Okay, here's Cookie-Mon. It's a bad version of Pac-Man with Cookie Monster and the letters A, B, C, and D in place of the ghosts. It's really stupid. I don't know why they made this. There is no free play option for this either for some reason. And it runs super slow as well because you have all these dumb looking graphics in place of Pac-Man. Maybe it's super slow for kids, I don't know. Like this is like a kid version of Pac-Man with blatant plagiarism of Cookie Monster, in addition to already like bootlegging the Pac-Man ROM and putting stupid things on it, but whatever. Okay, if Cookie-Mon is your thing. So eating the ghosts turn them into cartons with the letter M on them, which I can only assume is milk. But who knows, maybe it's morphine. Okay, that's all I can take of that. Pac-Rabbit, a little bit interesting. It's edited graphics Pac-Man, but there is a gimmick. You can jump. Again, another one of those no free play games for some reason. And oh yeah, there's also a boulder that's going around the map, and there are spots on the map where see these dots are above me, but I have to jump to get to them. So it's sort of trying to be like Pac-Mania, but it's mostly Pac-Man. It's neat. Also, it looks like there's 5 ghosts? Oh, one of them, okay, the orange one sort of blinks in 2 places at once and counts as 2 for some reason. Okay, sure, whatever. And here's the one that I've been getting so many questions about, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man. Okay, so here, my lovely assistant will help me. Come over here. Yes, quite. Another one of those no free play mode games, so I gotta put a bunch of coins in. Now, this is one of those where if you push the first player start button, it's incredibly stupid, because it's only meant to be a 2-player game, and it runs incredibly slow because it has this add-on in place where you're able to play 2 players at the same time. So never push 1 player on this unless you want a really slow, bad version of Pac-Man. 1 player, I think player 1 controls Pac-Man and player 2 controls Mrs. Pac-Man. Nope, it's the reverse. Player 1 is Miss Pac-Man, player 2 is Mr. Pac-Man. And it's pretty much what you'd expect. It's good, although it is a little bit slow. And the ghosts, because there are more sprites on the screen than there normally are, I think they have to do some programming tricks, and the ghosts blink around a lot. They don't behave the same way they normally do. Because there's like 2 targets for them to chase. Did you see? He just... Oh no, that was me eating the cherry. Never mind. You do get some slight graphics glitches when one of the Pac-Mans dies. Start out with 5 lives, which is good because you're going to be dying a lot with 2 players running around all over the place. But overall, it's pretty good. Let's clear this this map too, just so they can see the cutscene. The whole game is slowed down, even when there aren't 2 players on the screen. I'm sure there's a very good programming reason for this. Not being a programmer, I couldn't really tell you. But even like the cutscenes are affected by the slowness of whatever architecture's in place to keep 2 Pac-Mans running around on the screen at the same time. Don't die. There you go. But if you really like Pac-Man, this is a really cool 2-player simultaneous. See if Pac-Man just bugged out there, even though he should have died and not had a ghost of himself spin in place where his corpse was. Didn't happen that time. It only happens sometimes. I don't know like what the reasoning is for it. Again, sure there's a very good programming reason. Just wait for them to come. Bide your time. Alright. Also some weird graphics glitches when you eat a ghost too, like the sometimes Pac-Man won't disappear and the number just appears. And here's the cutscene. Yeah, so it's a little bit slow, it's like a little bit jerky. But it's very playable, and it's actually really fun if this is your thing. If you really like Pac-Man, I can highly... This is probably one of the better, more interesting games in the collection. Besides the fact that you have like classic Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, you can switch easily between the games, which I'm going to do now because I've had enough of this. I think there's like one more... Oh no, there's Pingo and Alien Armada. So here's Pingo. It's actually a really good version of Pingo. It sounds a little bit different from the original because it's using some of the sound architecture on the Pac-Man board, but it plays similarly. So, if you love Pingo, good way to get your Pingo fix. I'm just getting annoyed. Okay. And Alien Armada is just Space Invaders, like a weird bootleg version of it. It's not all that weird. Oops, oh, it died already, that's great. Sound effects aren't very authentic. But again, what do you expect? I don't know, if you really like Space Invaders, maybe you'd enjoy this. It's sort of an odd thing. Oh, there's no way I'm going to hit that. I'm not a huge fan. And that's pretty much it. I'll just show you, for example, here's Miss Pac-Man on fast. This is probably what I play predominantly when I'm using this thing. Being able to save your high score is super cool. And plays pretty much exactly how you'd expect. It's arcade perfect. I have the actual EPROMs for this, and I can't tell the difference when they're in the board. I mean, it's running the same code just off of that weird daughter board and like dangling thing. Yeah, the internet can watch my crappy Miss Pac-Man playing. Take that, YouTube, as I clutter you with more useless garbage. Okay, and that's pretty much it. I guess some of the other neat options too are the sheer amount of weird mazes they have for Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. So if you go to Pac-Man options, all of these are just Pac-Man mazes, like just weird Pac-Man mazes. You can practice them individually, or you can do a randomizer for them, which is pretty cool. Thought I'd put this on free play. Again, one of those weird, like, either I didn't set it up properly or it just doesn't have the free play option game. But normal Pac-Man, weird maze. And if you want to do, I think it's, if you go to other games. How do you get to that? See at the bottom where it says random mazes? And if you wanted to do fast Pac-Man, you have to last select fast Pac-Man as the game you want to play, and then select random mazes, and it'll do the fast Pac-Man and random mazes. But since I last selected a slow Pac-Man, it's going to do a slow Pac-Man in random mazes. But when you pass this maze, it would move on randomly to the next one in that giant list of Pac-Man mazes. And the same is true for the Miss Pac-Man as well. So if we go to Miss Pac Attack, I think, is the only way to access additional Miss Pac-Man mazes. Most of the weird mazes are for Pac-Man only, not Miss Pac-Man. Not sure why, but them's the breaks. Okay, that's pretty much it. Hope this answered most of your questions.